Ladies and gentlemen, it's my wife's 2008 Toyota Prius. It isn't much to look at, but she drives 52 miles one way to work. That's 104 miles 6 days a week, and there really is no cheaper car on the market that gets better than 30 miles to the gallon. This is literally the cheapest car that gets 30 miles to the gallon. I can't buy a Geo Metro as cheaply as I can buy one of these, and because of that, I think it's the most beautiful car ever. I've got it here at the shop on this beautiful, cold, rainy Saturday because I've got absolutely nothing better to do, and this thing seems to have eaten a rear wheel bearing. Let's pull it apart and see what it looks like. Got her up in the air, and wouldn't you know it, this rear driver's side wheel bearing has a bunch of play in it. That sucks. This is definitely not going to be cheap. It should be cheap. I can order all 4 wheel bearings for this car from Detroit Axle for like $100. Unfortunately, in the part of the world that I live in, even overnight deliveries take about 3 days to actually get here. And she needs her car, so I'm forced to pay parts store prices for a mediocre part. Just so you have all the information, I replaced the front wheel bearings this morning. I didn't know I needed a rear one because I couldn't hear it singing over top of these noisy buggers, and that really sucks. Let me explain why this sucks so bad. I took a side job this week that earned me an extra $300. I'm not in the best of health right now, and I definitely shouldn't have taken that job, but I had to come up with some extra money because this week was my 9th wedding anniversary, and I wanted to do something special for my wife. Our wedding anniversary was the 16th. That day was ruined. I'm not going to get into details. That day is FUBAR. The day after was screwed up as well. So I was hoping to do something for my wife this weekend, like a dinner and a present, something like that. Well, when I bought one wheel bearing, I thought, okay, well, I just won't get her as much of something. And then I bought 2 wheel bearings, and I thought, well, I'll at least be able to take her to dinner. But when I had to buy a 3rd wheel bearing, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do anything for her at all besides fix her car so she can continue to drive herself to work while I lay around on the couch like a bum. Happy wedding anniversary, honey. So these stupid things can suck a sausage. Anyway, back to the other thing. Pull this wheel off. Pull this drum off. If you're wondering why that came off so easy, I just replaced this rear wheel bearing and the brakes. Take these stupid springs off here, both sides. This bottom spring down here, get that out of the way. This dumb thing right here, I don't know what they call that, a retainer, I guess. Same thing for the other shoe, those out of there, pads out of here. Just let that hang by its brake cable. It doesn't really matter. Now, the back of this wheel bearing, I believe, is a 12 millimeter. Okay, I was wrong. It's a 12 millimeter. Now, there's lots of room back here for my air tools, so I'm just going to zip those out with an impact. But first, I need to unplug this thing right here. That might require a pick. Yeah, a pick. I'll just lift that like that, and this should pull right off the back. Anyway, out with these dumb things. I think that one rounded off. Guess I'll try it with an extractor. Yay, there we go. Anyway, all 4 bolts come out of the back of that wheel bearing. Now I'm just going to swat it with a hammer. Alright, that's out of there. Now I'm just going to replace it with one that isn't totally junk. Duralast, the best I could get today. At least I get a 1-year warranty with this one. Alright, I'm just going to shove that in there and find 4 bolts that are actually comfortable with their identity. Alright, we'll try to run through this as quickly as possible. I haven't changed anything, so I shouldn't have to touch this self-adjuster. And I'm just gonna cram this guy back up into his little spot. Got one of these things right here, goes into the back. Like such. Yeah. Little spring thing goes right there. Pair of pliers, grab one of these little thingy-doos, whatever they are. I think we settled on retainer. Yeah. Light it, turn the guy in there. Other shoe, he goes down in here. Self-adjuster, this little guy goes right up against the adjuster screw. And this little notch fits right inside of here, like such. I gotta grab a hold of this thing. that spring in there. Another one of these little retainers goes into the back. You're actually seeing this in real time too. That's special, isn't it? Instead of all the pausing. This guy here. There's tools for this. I probably have them somewhere. There we go. That guy's in. Just gonna make sure everybody's on their little place. Everybody locked in. There's this last spring that goes on the bottom. There we go. And those are our brakes. Make sure everybody's where it wants to be so it's somewhat center. I'm just going to stuff this drum here on. I shouldn't have to adjust that one, but if you do want to adjust it, there's this little rubber plug on the back, and you just stick a screwdriver in there and spin that gear until this thing drags like it's doing now. Perfect. She's all set, and we are on our way to our next problem. Let's hope we get there.